What is Hanukkah? Interestingly enough, the Gemara in Tractate Shabbat introduces its discussion of Hanukkah by asking precisely that question. It seems odd. One could assume that the meaning of Hanukkah was well known. But in fact, the Gemara's discussion of Hanukkah demonstrates that what Hanukkah means for one generation is not necessarily what it means for another. The Gemara's discussion basically ignores the Maccabees' defeat of the Seleucid Empire and focuses instead on the miracle of the oil. Professor Arnold Eisen, the chancellor of the Jewish Theological Seminary, discusses the meaning of religious ritual in his seminal work, Rethinking Modern Judaism. Professor Eisen describes certain of our religious observances as, and I quote, regular performances which lend performers the conviction that they are carrying on the essence of their ancestors' faith and practice, even while they alter both belief and observance to suit their new circumstances. Or in less academic prose, we convince ourselves that we are doing precisely what previous generations of Jews did, even while we modify both the practice and the significance we ascribe to it. That is why for Israeli Jews, Hanukkah is about the Maccabees and their restoration of Jewish national independence, while for American Jews, Hanukkah is about freedom of religion. A classic example can be found in the Hanukkah song, which in Hebrew is called Mi Yimalel. The first verse is Mi Yimalel Gvurot Yisrael Otan Mi Yimne, which means, who can recount the heroic acts of Israel? Who can count them? The verse is based on a psalm verse, which might be familiar to you as part of Birkat Hamazon, the grace after meals. Psalm 106:2. Mi Yimalel Gvurot Adonai. Who can recount the heroic acts of God? Do you see what has happened here? A verse from Psalms which talks about God's saving power has been transformed into a secular Zionist paean to Jewish heroism. This is perfectly in keeping with the Zionist ethos, which emphasizes not reliance on God, but rather reliance on our own actions. So the Psalm verse has been transformed once by its inclusion in a secular Zionist Hanukkah song. But coming to America, it has been transformed again, because in English, the song begins, who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? The emphasis is not on the heroic acts of God, nor those of Israel, but rather on the things that befell us. This is in accordance with what the great historian Salo Baron called the lachrymose theory of Jewish history, which sees Judaism primarily as a series of tragedies and oppressions perpetrated against the Jews by others. Every generation and every Jewish community creates its own meaning. What is the meaning of Hanukkah that we create? What is the legacy that we will leave for future generations?